What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Indie Sooner YouTube channel. As always, it's your boy JP. And to my right, I have my esteemed co-host Travis Davidson. Trav, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. Doing great. Outside of the basketball loss last night, I'm doing really well.
Good to hear. Good to hear. As you guys can see, I am not normally where you would normally see me. I think this may be one of the first Trav shows. Actually, no, there's one other one where I haven't been at my house when we started. So I'm on my way actually to my school. We got a big senior night tomorrow. Just left the Pacers game, and so I'm gonna post up there when I get there, and I'll do the show from there. But I gotta clean my floor. It got pretty dirty, and so I'm grinding late in the midnight hour
Look
for
at you
my
go,
kids.
man.
So
You're a hero.
they can't ever say I ain't did nothing for them. But but yeah, hopefully everybody's doing well. And without saying any other things, we got a Big 12 schedule.
We got the schedule, baby. Got the schedule. Very excited about that. I want to know. I want to get the chat involved early since we got Indy on the road, and a lot of people jumping in the chat already. Appreciate it. Topher, Emily, Pat, Hank, Angie. You guys are killing it. Robert, you guys are all in. So I want the chat to tell me what the first and second toughest games are on the schedule. First and second toughest games on the schedule. Rank them one and then two. I'm gonna let you guys populate that a little bit. And I'll tell you what, if you were at the basketball game last night, I get we didn't play well, but that type of atmosphere, if that can be recreated, that can be a weapon. It was essentially a bundle of dynamite sitting in that building, ready to explode and really push the momentum and get that ball rolling down the hill, but the team just couldn't get it done. And I know that is killing Porter. Porter, the actual not being able to stop their bigs, not being able to get rebounds, being out assisted by double, shooting 5 of 22 from three, everything like that. I guarantee you that's not what's keeping him up at night. What's keeping him up last night is that he had the best crowd that's probably ever been at Oklahoma, at least in the last 30 years. And they squandered it. So, anyways, hopefully, I know the free ticket thing definitely helped. The late tip definitely helped. The Red Panda definitely helped, as pointed out by Twiggy and Topher. So, rivalry game helped. Everything like that helped. Coming off the Bama win. But hopefully, everybody looked around that stadium. I was looking around that stadium, damn near getting emotional. I'm looking around going, man, could you imagine if it was like this every night? We're pulling into the parking lot. And I'm thinking that. I'm thinking, man, I would gladly park and walk a mile if it meant that I couldn't find a close parking spot because it was so packed. So, anyways, if you were there, keep going out. Team needs us. I have secured my baseball tickets as well. I'll be coming down to a couple games. Sunday, Monday of opening weekend, I'll be down there. So if you're going to be at the baseball game, come hit me up. So we got a couple answers now. We've got BYU in Texas, says a few people. James says Texas and Texas. Texas and BYU is pretty much consensus. Wow. Iowa State, always a pain in the ass, says Robert.
This is the two. You said the two most dangerous teams. Is that what we said?
Yeah, two toughest games on the schedule. Les saying Texas, then TCU. I'm kind of with Les here. I know we're in the and Emily says the same now. I think we're kind of in the minority. Clearly, I think Texas and BYU. I think Texas, agreed. I think them without Bijan Robinson and Roshan Johnson is very important to think about. I think at times they were able to lean on that run game and the best running back in the country in Bijan Robinson. Now that he's gone, I know they like Brooks. I know Cedric Baxter is the real deal, and he's coming into this next class. But the more you put on Quinn Ewers' shoulders, I I haven't seen it from him, man. I really haven't. And it's going to end up being a situation that their defense is going to have to be the ones to step up. So we'll see. It's still coaching changing season. You never know what Patterson's going to do, if he's just going to stick around. I know he wants to get that Hall of Fame clock rolling now. But yeah, Texas will be an interesting matchup. I think TCU is one of the most fascinating teams in the country, right? You lose Max Duggan, most importantly, your Heisman candidate, your Heisman finalist. You lose Garrett Riley, which I know the Riley name we're not supposed to say out loud here in the state, but the guy can call plays. So you lose those two guys. You lose Quentin Johnston. You lose a bunch of people. Granted, they bring in JoJo Earl. They bring in a couple other transfers that are real nice. I think they bring in one of the Bama offensive linemen. They did a good job in the portal, but can you replicate that? That's tough, right? Because how many starting quarterbacks did they knock out? 4, 5, maybe? And if they didn't knock him out, maybe they didn't have to play him anyways. A la, Kansas, I think, was out of a quarterback, all that kind of stuff. They beat Baylor by running onto the field at the last minute, kicking a field goal as time expired with no timeouts. It felt a lot like my Vikings, 11-0 in one-score games, just kept on somehow getting it done. And then they get to the playoffs, and we all know what happens. So I think I think they regress to the mean. I don't think they win that many close games. But TCU off a short week after having to travel to Provo, I think that's why TCU could be decently tough. I see a lot of people are putting K-State in the Big 12 championship game already. Interesting. They lose a lot of talent as well, most notably Deuce Vaughn. I like Will Howard a lot. I like Klein. I mean, Kansas State seems like they've got the culture to lose a Deuce Vaughn and keep moving forward. But the dude's an All-American, man. I mean, the dude gave us fits, right? So we'll see if the Will Howard of new plays well.
That's my biggest W is not having K-State on the schedule. I'm not gonna lie to you. Not seeing that purple monster.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So the 3 teams not on the schedule, and I think we had said this before. I think we had said this before. I know we had said it on air on KREF, but if you could pick any team to not be on the schedule before the schedule came out, 95% of OU fans would have said Kansas State, because you all want the Texas game, obviously rivalry. You want Bedlam to slap them around, given the opportunity. And nobody else, I mean, I know some people probably say Tech, maybe if it means going to Lubbock, but we just went to Lubbock, so we'd get them at home. Some people might say Baylor because Aranda's had our number, but the majority would say Kansas State. But guess what? All 3 of those teams not on the schedule. Kansas State had our number. I mean, pushes us around. Baylor, Aranda, they could have beat us by 10 last year. They did the Samaje P. Ryan Neal, the gentleman's 10-point win, if you will. And then lastly, Texas Tech. Joey McGuire is on the come up. His legend status and Hall of Fame status in high school football in the state of Texas, it's got a very Bryles feel to it without some of the other Bryles stuff, if you know what I mean. He knows every road in Texas. If you tell him, hey, this high school, who's the head coach? He can name you the whole staff. He can tell you how to get from any town in Texas to any other town in Texas. And that kind of stuff, that matters. So you got, again, Tech on the come up, one of their better recruiting classes they've had. And then Baylor and Kansas State all not on the schedule. So if I'm going to ask the chat to participate again in this. If you were to rank the difficulty of the schedule this year, the difficulty, 10 being the most difficult, 1 being easy peasy, shouldn't lose a game, 10 being the most difficult, 1 being easy peasy, shouldn't lose a game. Speaking of easy peasy schedules, we got the DGD podcast in here. Good to see you, man. So 10 being the hardest, 1 being the easiest. I want to see what you say. Hank says 2. James says 4. Robert, 3. Les, 4. Okay.
I would probably say 4.
You would say 4. Walk that out for me, JP. Why would you say 4? Why would you go that high?
And you said four as in being like one is we should win every game.
Yep, one's the
Yeah,
easiest.
yeah. I probably say 4 or 5 just because obviously the out of conference schedule is not crazy. SMU still decent. And then we have Tulsa, and remind me who our other one was.
It's SMU, Arkansas State, and
Arkansas State. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So I mean that those are obviously, it's not like we have a huge marquee out of conference game. Again, SMU may be one of those for some people, but I
right
I think
because
I think we'll be fine with that. And then you look at the conference slate. Like I said, I mean the toughest games for me are Texas, and I do think BYU. Kansas obviously is better than they've been. West Virginia's kept Neil Brown, but I don't think they'll provide much resistance. Cincinnati just lost Luke Fickell, so we don't know what they're going to really look like. Other than that, those are really the only teams I saw that like, man, do you think they can give us a run for our money? Now, I won't lie and say last year at this time, when we looked at the schedule, we didn't say, oh, you know, we don't think this team will give us a run for our money, and yada yada yada. And we saw what happened this year. Now, hopefully, in year two under BV, we'll be able to take some better strides, in particular defensively, so that we're not in those positions. But yeah, that's what I would say. I think when you looking at the totality of our schedule, I mean, Oklahoma State. I don't think anybody's worried about them after the offseason that they've had. Yeah, that's what I'd say. You might be muted, Trev, or maybe I just can't hear you.
that's me. Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I get a little toggle happy there. The interesting thing about Kansas, we talked about how TCU was kind of an intriguing kind of wild card out there, but Kansas, I mean, how many of Kansas wins last year were because maybe, just maybe, they caught some people sleeping, caught some people off guard, won some games that they weren't necessarily expected to even compete in. I think that might have been part of it. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, they improved the quarterback position immensely, right? Jalen's the real deal, and he'll be returning. So I do think Lance Leopold is a great coach. I'm surprised that they were able to hold on to him, honestly, with a lot of these openings out there. But at Kansas, it's not exactly a raucous environment. I used to go to Kansas games often up to see my buddy Jay because you can basically get in for free, and then you sit behind the OU bench, and then by the time halftime comes around, everybody leaves. So you just go sit behind the bench, hang out, have the best seats in the house, 50-yard line, ready to go. So, um, anyways, the Kansas game will be intriguing. There's a Logie's in Kansas. So Logie's on Campus Corner. Todd owns one in Kansas as well. So I'm sure we'll be there doing pregame, postgame. Most likely, I'll have to talk to him about that. But I know KREF's trying to be at every away game. We'll definitely be at Provo. We'll be at Cincinnati, Bedlam, I'm sure, and then Kansas, I'm sure. So um, and then obviously OU Texas. So trying to get to every away game because trying to get ready for the SEC because I want to go to every away game in the SEC. There's no doubt about it. So, yeah, Kansas will be interesting. I think UCF at home off a bye is nice because they finished. I mean, they did some nice things last year, and they're still in Florida. They could get some talent here and there, but man, they are noisy on Twitter. There's not a noisier fan base. Cincinnati's kind of calm. BYU. I don't even think. I know they can't drink there. I'm not sure they can tweet in Provo either. Um, and then Houston. I mean, they're too distracted with the basketball season right now with their team they got going on. So, but UCF, man, they got into it with old Cyclone Larry, and that has been one of the most entertaining things over the last couple of days. And I really think that UCF, man, I'm glad we're getting out of the Big 12 because they are annoying. You win one fake championship in 2017, and all of a sudden you think, all right, we've arrived. But on the Joe Mixon thing, we probably won't talk about it that much because, more details have to come out. They say it's going to be dropped in the morning. If charges are dropped in the morning and it's hard for that to be a misunderstanding. I get it. But if it's a misdemeanor charge that just gets dropped within 18 hours of it being reported, then we'll see. So I don't want to speak on that kind of stuff. I don't want to, I don't want to work with the guilty till proven innocent situation. So we might speak on that next week, maybe if it's still a story. I don't personally expect it to be. Looks like JP is going to be moving over to his computer or something. But Joe C. Here's what's interesting. I want to hear some theories from you guys. What are your guys' theories as to why the University of Texas and the University of Oklahoma have not tweeted out a graphic about the schedule? There he is. There's old Light Eyes. So OU and Texas have not recognized the schedule that was released by the Big 12. They retweeted it, but every other school put out a graphic or put out something, a press release, something like that. I want to hear everybody in the chat. I want to hear your theories on why the only two schools that are leaving are the only two schools that, and the two biggest brands with the farthest reach of social media, just have completely ignored the schedule release on social media. BB Schwartz says because we're going in 2023.
That would be interesting, though. I mean, do you think that's something that could still happen? Like,
no, I think they'll announce soon that we're leaving in 2024. But 2023, I mean, that would have to be announced like now. Like it would have to be announced very quickly.
I mean, the SEC already announced their schedule in fall, this past fall.
Yeah, but
yeah, it can change.
Anything can change, baby.
Things change all the time.
Exactly. So it'll be interesting. Topher says because Big 12 is petty, holding the teams hostage. Yeah, maybe they just met it with they kept that same energy. They met him with pettiness as well. James says it is a D measuring contest. I don't think he means defense. And he said we don't need to sell out every game. Absolutely. I think I heard Tyler and Teddy saying something today. Maybe they're in the negotiations. There's something like, because OU is a sellout for any team they play. If they go somewhere, they're going to sell out, right? I mean, we boost OSU's attendance every single time we go there, and they want to act like, oh, we're just big fans. We show up every game. No, you don't.
Right.
You don't. So, and you got 35,000 less seats in the stadium than we do. So, but with that, I think it's a situation where I think they'll announce that we leave in 2024. There's no part of me thinks that we're still here the year after this upcoming season. But I don't think they'll leave in 2023. I think we're too far past that. I think we're past the point of no return.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twiggy, when would the other sports change to the SEC? Exactly. I think it's got to be a summer switch.
Yeah.
You can't do it in the middle of, you can't do it right when baseball season starting, right when softball season starting, in the middle of gymnastics, middle of tennis, middle of basketball, in the middle of winter sports, about to start spring sports. Mm-hmm. So as JP knows all too well, those are the two seasons that the sports exist, right? It's fall and spring sports. So you got to do it in the summer. So that's why I don't think they're going to announce. If they do announce it, like I said, I think it'll be a 2024 announcement. So
yeah.
Do you think they're missing on the opportunity to get the fan base excited by not doing a graphic? Asks Pat Kirby. I don't think so. I think the fan base, I think our fan base is one of the more dialed in, nationally.
Yeah.
That you can tell that just by our social media reach. I mean, we know if you are a fan that buys tickets, that goes to games, then you're dialed in. You know the schedule. Like, so, I mean, it's what we've talked about, for the first 20 minutes today. Basically, is schedule, schedule, schedule. So, I ponder that OU and Texas are not happy in regards to time slots. Remember, less sometimes is more. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we get a bunch of 11 a.m. kicks. The problem is we hate 11. First of all, I like 11 a.m. kicks. Me and Josh Pate are kind of, we're like the action movies where the two guys are back to back with their swords, so nobody can sneak up on them, or back to back with their guns. That's how we are about 11 a.m. kickoffs. I don't mind them because I tend to talk a bit of trash on the old socials. I like to know whether we won or not before I watch the rest of the teams, because it's one thing to think, oh man, we just saw A&M lose in this embarrassing fashion. Oh, Texas lost. Oh my gosh, OSU lost, and then you lose, and you're like,
Yeah.
well, damn, there goes all my excitement. So, and with that, man, you get up, you get out of the way, you can spend the rest of the day however you'd like, especially away games. Like, so, and also keep in mind, 11 a.m. part of the reason is Fox has the contract. So as long as Fox has the contract, and as long as their primetime game is the big noon kickoff,
That's what it'll be.
and CBS, ESPN is 2:30 is their big primetime matchup. We're the biggest brand. We're going to continue to get 11 a.m. games. It just is what it is.
So what I've always said is, I get the upset in this, but it's really not like it's Fox honestly, saying, hey, OU's our biggest brand. So like we're putting them on our time slot. That's what we're doing. Be mad at Fox for having that time slot, but that's just what it is.
Right. It's like if you're the biggest, baddest dude and you keep on getting brought by your buddy that keeps on getting in fights because he knows that you can kick everybody's ass, like at a certain time, like you got to realize you're the guy that they bring in to kick everybody's ass. Like, it is what it is. What's the alternative?
Yeah.
The guy that keep it home because they got a glass jaw? No. We're the ones that draw the crowd.
Yeah.
We're the big ticket. And that's part. If you like the facilities that come with big ticket, if you like the number 4 recruiting class that comes with the big ticket, if you like the big old stadiums that come with the big ticket, if you like being able to brag about 7 national titles and 50 conference titles and all that comes with the big ticket,
yeah,
you're going to have to deal with 2 things: 11 a.m. kicks and bowl games against opponents that are much better than you.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to have to deal with. So it is what it is.
I just want to remind everybody to make sure that you hit that like button. I put it up there a couple times, but remember that's how we are able to be seen in the YouTube algorithm. So if you're in here, hit that like button, share that we're live now. We're having a great conversation about the Big 12 schedule. Trav, I want to get back to something that you had said earlier. I know we mentioned it even last week in terms of what everybody's favorite place would be to visit. Out of the new schools, but I'm interested in if we put all 14, and I have a follow-up question. My first one is if we put all 13 teams, obviously excluding a Norman, what would be your least favorite place to play now, adding in the other 14? So I know last week we talked about just the new places, but what would be your least favorite place to play? Would it be a new place? Is it still an old place, out of the old Big 12 members that we've had over the last 10 or so years?
I think my least favorite, and I want the chat to jump in on this. Whereas if of the now 14 Big 12 teams, we can't get to 12. We have 10, now we have 14. We're like overcorrecting. We're like Goldilocks. They're going to get to 12 eventually, but too hot, too cold. The worst place that you would want to go watch a game of the 14 teams, go ahead. We've got Hank says Houston. I think Houston, if it's in the summer, like early game,
Hot.
Stillwater, of course. I don't know. I don't mind going to Stillwater, although this year, better wear a flak jacket or something. Like you better. I might walk in with chainmail, full suit of armor. You're not shanking me. You're not doing anything because it's gonna be rough. Tech, yeah, you gotta deal with batteries and bat trees and tortillas being thrown.
That's crazy.
I tell you what, Iowa State wasn't too bad. It was actually very pretty. Walking across the bridge right there, looking out at all the trees changing, big tailgating area between that and their basketball arena that share a parking lot. Um, the stadium's kind of interesting because it's like a big hill that goes around it, and they've got areas for kids just to lay blankets down and kind of have a picnic with a football game going on. So it's really interesting. I didn't mind Iowa State quite as much, but yeah, I think the obvious answer is going to Orlando. I think in season, if you say, hey, we got, a home game here and then we got to travel to Orlando and then come back and play a short week or something like that, like, yikes. Like, no, thank you. Like that's a long trip. And Orlando's just a tourist trap. It's not a college town. There's nothing special about it if you're a college football fan. So yeah, I just soon leave Orlando alone for your Disney trips.
Cincinnati is not at it's worse to play in Morgantown in November than Cincinnati. Cincinnati's actually not
Oh yeah,
too, it's not that bad. Like cold wise, Morgantown's way worse.
yeah.
In my
Well,
opinion.
and just having to get there, right?
Yeah.
If you fly in, so you fly into Pittsburgh and drive down through the mountains. I get it. I mean Cincinnati. I'm really looking forward to that trip. Old
Me
JP,
too. Yeah.
hey, everybody.
Yeah, that's it, man. I can't tell y'all how close. Cincinnati is literally an hour and 45 minutes from my house. An hour and 45, bro.
You're
Like,
closer. You're closer to Cincinnati than I am to Norman
yeah. Like that's why I'm like, dog, like this is gonna be dope.
because I drive the speed limit when I'm going to Norman and when I'm returning. Mom, I see you in the chat. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey Mama Sue, how you doing? Hope everything's well in Branson. But yeah, hey, my second question then was, and I don't know if you've heard anything or if anybody in the chat has, is the Big 12 still, I think I mentioned this last week, is the Big 12 still going to do 1 and 2 then? Even though everybody's not playing each other, they're still going to do top 2 for Big 12
Yeah, I
championship?
think the tiebreakers are still alive. They didn't go with divisions.
Okay.
So tiebreakers are still alive. And I mean, you can tiebreak all the way down, right? Like there's a million ways to do it. So it's just going to really kind of be like, just 1 and 2 overall records. And because you're only going to have to do it for a year. It would have been tough because if you wanted to do divisions this year, you would have had to put OU and Texas in different divisions.
Yeah.
Because then that would keep it equal after they leave. So
do you think that's what they'll do after we leave, is divisions?
I'm not sure. I think they might, but I kind of lean to the side of adding conference games. I think that I think 9 conference games is fine for now, but I'm always a proponent of playing more conference games. Like, I know we'll never get there with the with the bigger conferences like the SEC. Obviously, will never be like, hey, everybody plays everybody. We got to expand it to an NFL type schedule. But at the same time, I think you should. Part of the reason of being in a conference with people is that you get to go play them, that you get to host them, all that kind of stuff. I think the more when you have divisions or pods or whatever, you get stuck playing the exact same teams at least a little bit every year, right? So if you play the same 5 teams or 6 teams every year, and you have to fill your other 3 teams, or in SEC at this point, 2 teams, you have to fill that with the remaining 6, you'll never play that side. Like I would rather play like on a rotating schedule. You go home, away, off, and you can make it work with that many people. So every single kid that comes to that school will get a home game against every team, an away game against every team, and then a year off against every team. Like that seems like it would be the best possible option when it comes to scheduling. In my opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, Hank brings up a good point. So running up the score helps. Yes. A good tiebreaker, which was, Baylor's, reasoning, that pissed off Lincoln Riley those years ago when Aranda kept scoring. It was like, well, tiebreaker comes down to like point differential. So might as well run up those scores.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pods are interesting. I just like Wild West, like have everybody play as many people as they can. Cincinnati Master Distillers in Kentucky might be the best. I'm a big New Riff guy, so that's over there, I believe, in Newport, and I will be enjoying some bourbon in Kentucky. Because I'm trying to get to be the guy that drive the KREF mobile, and I know Gunny was going to be my co-pilot. Gunny was going to be my co-pilot up to Provo. Because really, like you can map it out. You can actually go west and then go up through the Grand Canyon and go up to Provo. It's a long drive either way. So
that would be beautiful.
Rockies, you're going Grand Canyon, like it's got to be a beautiful drive. So I've already told my bosses at KREF, I'm like, hey, I'll take the KREF mobile. Like, if it's going to be easier to drive equipment there for radio, as opposed to like check a bunch of radio equipment and Pelican cases and stuff like that, like, cool, I'll drive it up. Let me know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna road trip this thing.
DGD asks, how are y'all feeling about joining the SEC? He doesn't think he's asked us. Trav, how are you feeling about it?
Well, I'll get the chat involved too. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most excited, 1 is no, I want to stay in the Big 12 now that we got new teams in it. What is it? 10 being super excited about the SEC, 1 being stay in the Big 12. Chat, tell me 1 through 10, where are you at? Me personally, I can't wait. I don't think there's any evidence to suggest that OU will struggle in the SEC. We already out-recruited, 12 of the teams in the SEC, something like that this year. Venables knows what it takes down there. Obviously, he's going to get the defense turned around. There's no doubt about that. We know that the SEC tends to protect its bigger brands. It's amazing how you guys never play Alabama during the regular season, or any of the top teams never play each other. So who knows? Who knows what our schedules look like? I do think some SEC fans think their schedule's a lot tougher than it is. I understand that OU was supposed to be on Georgia's schedule, but when you look at Georgia's schedule this year, it's like, this is what we're afraid of? Like, this is the schedule we're afraid of? And I get Georgia's schedule is easier because they don't have to play the back-to-back national champion because they are the back-to-back national champion. Like, I get that. But at the same time, like, I think there are a lot of people that assume, like, they're like, oh, man, that SEC grind, man. Once conference play starts, you go at Bama, at LSU, at Georgia, at A&M in a night game, crazy Kyle Field. You go at Florida, and then I think you finish up at Ole Miss, and then I think that's what people assume Big 12 schedule is going to be like. I mean, SEC schedule is going to be like, and it's simply just not. Like, there's no evidence to support that. The schedule that was the toughest was a couple years ago when Arkansas had remember Arkansas, Texas on the schedule. Arkansas smashed Texas, but they had everybody on that schedule. I think they played like 6 top 15 teams or something like that. Like it was absurd. Yeah, it's on a scale of 1 to 10. So far, we've got 10, 10, 11, 8, 10, 9, 9, 9, 10, 12, 10, 10, 11. I do want to ask Twiggy. I want you to walk out your 8. You remember in school whenever you'd have a question on an exam or some homework, and it would ask you for the answer, and then it would just say explain.
Mm-hmm.
Explain your answer, Twiggy. Why an 8? Why? I sense a bit of trepidation. So you got to walk that out for me. Yes, see, James, it's interesting because so many people consider themselves like rivals with other people.
Yeah.
Like it feels like Texas has a bunch of rivals, right? Because they're in state with a lot of people. Like Arkansas is a traditional rival for Texas. OU, obviously, A&M. All right, that's 3. Like who are Vanderbilt's 3 rivals? Tennessee, because they're in the same state. Like who's Alabama's? Alabama, LSU, Alabama, Tennessee, and then Alabama, the Iron Bowl, Alabama, Auburn. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure there are other people in that. A&M probably thinks that they're a rival with them. Who are A&M's rivals? If we're doing 3, Texas, LSU, Missouri, dating back to the Big 12. Like I don't know. Like I don't. There are some teams that just don't have the 3 rivals because they don't have either the history or they don't have the geographical rivals that a lot of other people have. Like obviously you got Ole Miss, Mississippi State, but who are the rest of Mississippi State's rivals? Who are the rest of Ole Miss's rivals?
It's a great question.
Heck, Florida. Who are Florida's rivals?
Mostly in the ACC.
Right, and it's like I don't. Yeah, so it's interesting because there's no way to measure a rival. Like it's all opinion based, right? Like you could just poll a bunch of A&M fans and say, "Hey, what are your 3 biggest rivals in the new SEC?" And you will not get a consensus. You will get Texas on there. You'll probably get a lot of LSU, but the third one will not be, Florida and Georgia for sure. But what I'm saying is you're trying to get 3. So I know the cocktail party, like I want to go to the cocktail party one day. But what I'm saying is if you've got to schedule 3, that's what's tough. So Georgia and Florida obviously is the cocktail party. That's their biggest rivalry in the SEC. So who are the other rivals of Florida in the SEC that you would put on a level to actually call it a rival? I'm not sure it exists.
Yeah.
So I don't think it can be a scheduling basis.
It's a good question, Jordan C. asks. With the 12-team playoff coming, how many SEC teams go on the regular?
I think
4.
Yeah, I think 4 is the safe number.
You got the conference champ, and you're going to get some at-large bids in there.
Yeah, you get basically both teams that are in the conference championship.
Yep.
And then, like this year, it would have been LSU, Alabama, Georgia.
I'll look it up.
Dude.
Got my dual screens in front of me.
Ooh, excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, I'm going to switch over to my Yeti stereo mic. Let's see if you guys can still hear me.
The stereo mic, huh?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me still? JP, can you still hear me?
I can hear you fine, yep.
Okay, cool. Got my
Yeah, you want to see my office? Here we go. Got the dual screens.
microphone here.
Got the dual screens right here.
But yeah,
Or I do my work right there.
Oh, that a boy.
Don't look at my handwriting. It's terrible.
So Twiggy walked it out for me when he said he was at an 8 on the excitement level. He said, I think it may take OU a bit to get the players to compete the long scheduling. But once this, and depending on the next recruiting class, it may change my mind. I think it's just the scheduling. Okay. Totally get that. Well, did BV Schwartz say he's between a 4 and a 6?
No.
Okay, sorry. I forgot there was another answer. Okay, I was about to say, I was like, whoa. I'm getting – Hank says 7 teams.
So this year, if it was the top 12 teams, it would have been Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. I think
and LSU because they won the West.
Well, I'm just going based off the rankings, like because LSU is 17th.
Yeah, but at large, I think they would have.
You think they would have?
Yeah, just because. Hey, man, we hope so. That's our conference.
Yeah.
Because it'll be interesting. Again, we've talked about it ad nauseum, but I think the 18 playoff was the way to go. Yeah. 12's fine. It is what it is. We'll put this to the chat. The DGD podcast says, what team from the SEC would y'all look forward to playing the most? Chat, let me hear it. What is the new SEC team, our new conference rival, that you look forward to playing the most? What say you, JP?
I mean, okay. In terms of like prowess, I would love to. I mean, I think LSU, in my opinion. Alabama is the obvious answer. You could even say Georgia is an obvious answer, but I think like playing in Baton Rouge, while scary, would be fun. But a very fun thing to do. Now, my realistic answer is Arkansas.
Yeah, walk that out.
I mean, you lived in both Oklahoma and Arkansas. I lived in Arkansas. My family lives in Oklahoma. There's just this unmet tension for whatever, and mostly it comes from Hog fans. It's not from Sooners fans. It's from Hog fans. Like
we're all lovely people.
When they found out I was a Sooners fan, they like, oh my gosh, Oklahoma. I'm like, what? I'm like, we're not even in the same conference. Why are y'all tripping? But I think that they, for whatever reason, don't like us, and so for me at least, I would say I always just wanted to shut them up. Like I wish we would play y'all so we could just spank y'all, and so it wouldn't even be a thing. So I think there's a lot of unmet, and think about what we've seen at the BLK Center the last 2 years in Tulsa, like with Oklahoma, Arkansas, like it's been people come out, So I think that could potentially turn into, because we're not unfortunately going to be continuing, as far as we know, for the foreseeable future, Bedlam. I think Oklahoma, Arkansas could turn into our secondary rivalry moving forward.
Yeah, I think geographically, I think that's true. I think OSU is a geographical rival.
Yeah.
And I think Arkansas being so close, having a good foothold in Tulsa, Arkansas's got a huge presence here. And yeah, mine's Arkansas as well, because for a decade now we've heard, we play in the SEC West. We'd go undefeated in the Big 12.
We would do this. We would do that.
Yeah, okay. We would go undefeated in the Big 12. I'm like, stop it.
We've sat down on W. Reynolds Stadium and watched you get whooped.
Yeah.
By North Texas.
Yeah, calm down. So, yeah, I think Arkansas, I mean, they've got a great fan base from baseball to football to basketball. Arkansas fans are wildly supportive of their teams, and I think they will run circles around our fan base in those other sports. Now, football will definitely show out, but they will embarrass us in baseball and basketball of fan bases because it is what it is. Like we've seen it. So we've got to get better about that for sure. But Arkansas, like I said, it's close by. You'll have a lot of OU fans there. They've got great tailgating. Fayetteville, it's a beautiful city, beautiful campus.
It is.
So
Fayetteville's great.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So outside of Arkansas,
got to worry about Dixon.
I'm biased because I'm going LSU as well. I mean, I was able to go down, hang out with Jamar, be on the sideline, and sing "Calling Baton Rouge" and just like enjoy my evening. It is awesome down there. It's a lot of fun. So I am looking forward to that. Looking forward to a bunch of games. I think the list would be probably shorter if it said where do I not really care to go, and I think the only place is Stark Vegas. Like is Mississippi.
We're on the same page.
I don't know. Is there anywhere in the chat? Is there anywhere that you guys don't want to go in the SEC? We're saying Starkville, although
I guess Vanderbilt.
Zach Selman. Gotta go. We'll go see him. But did you say Vanderbilt?
Yeah, I don't think anybody really cares about going to play at Vanderbilt.
I don't know, man. It's in Nashville.
I mean, I guess that's fair.
Nashville's a fun city, man.
It is in Nashville. That okay. Yeah. Yeah. Not the campus, just the city. Nashville is cool. It's only 4 hours from here. I would go. Yeah. But I mean, you got Lexington, Knoxville. All right. You got Columbia, Missouri, and South Carolina.
You got George Van saying, without all the players from DFW and Houston, OU couldn't beat Tulsa.
Who said that?
George Van. Are we not allowed to recruit players within a couple hours of our campus?
Are you serious?
That's weird. It's a weird flex.
But we would also that's cap because OU's are national. OU recruits nationally. They always have. So
right.
Like, what are you talking
about? We got
about?
players from Florida, California, Tennessee, the DMV, Georgia, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, anywhere.
That's like saying like USC in their heyday. Man, if they didn't recruit kids from Los Angeles and San Diego and the Valley, then they would be nothing.
Yeah, Norman's so close to the DFW, like Denton. Denton's an OU town.
Yes.
Just coming in here trying to pick a fight. Twiggy. Now, this is the least favorite places to go. College Station, they're a cult. I personally think going to College Station for a game is going to be a blast, but I also do agree that they're a complete cult. See, DGD, I think on the I think on hating Columbia, South Carolina, I think as long as Beamer's there, I think OU fans are going to like to go there.
That's true.
And the experience, the game day experience seems awesome. So, I'm looking forward to that actually. Let's see. If you had to pick one, would you rather have David Stone or Williams Nwaimeri? The cute gif of the little Asian girl that says, "Why not both?" That's who I'm going to pick. So, I personally think you don't have to pick either one. I think David Stone, is more important because he's got Oklahoma ties and you want to continue to I feel that, and this may be unfair, I totally get it, but I feel that David Stone has the personality and potential to be like a Gerald McCoy post-career guy. You know what I mean? Like Gerald McCoy is saying literally on Twitter today, hey, man, Oklahoma, somebody tell Beefy that I want to be added to the recruiting staff. You don't even have to pay me. Like, let me just go. I'll pay my own stuff. Like,
I love
pay
that.
for flights. Let me go recruit. I want to go bring talent to you. And then Kenny Stills said, "Hey man, sign me up too. I'll go with you. All the Cali boys, we used to host all the guys on the visits anyways. Like,
I
so
didn't even
that's
know Kenny said that.
I think when you look at those guys, I think David Stone, you see his personality, you see, how out there. I mean, Gerald McCoy would play Boomer Sooner in the facilities of the NFL teams he was playing in, and would dance and sing
Yep.
throughout the facility.
Yeah,
Like,
Oklahoma
that's
through
the
and
kind
through.
of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that I see David Stone doing eventually. So that's why I probably give him a bit of the edge. But I also think that you can land both. I honestly think you're looking at a defensive line of Williams, of David, and then Nigel Smith and Zadavian Sims. I think when Zadavian Sims commits to Oklahoma, which I think he will. I know Michigan State's after him hard, but I truly think he does end up at Oklahoma. I think that's going to kind of let David know, like, oh, hey, okay, like I got a friend here. David's trainer's in Oklahoma. He went to Oklahoma State, Littlefield. So it's like there's just so much familiarity here. There are people around him that want him gone, but this feels like Peyton Bowen all over again with David Stone. It's at the end of the day, if he does what he wants to do, then he'll be at OU.
Maybe that'll shut all the Todd Bates slanderers up.
This is the class to do it, man.
Hey, me and Les thinking the same thing. It would make them be quiet.
Yeah, no doubt it would.
All right, guys, we got about a couple minutes left. Can continue to pour the questions in, and we'll answer as we see fit.
Yeah, Gerald McCoy would get us that 5-star defensive tackle we need, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine a better guy, to be that face for OU? Gerald loves him some OU.
Yeah, PG. It'll just depend on who we prioritize in the class, and it's interesting because I know we were just talking about Bates, but it's a lot like our running back situation. Whereas you have your pick of a lot of the top guys, and maybe not your pick, but you lead for a lot of the top guys. We lead for probably 5 4-star running backs, or at least that are going to be 4 stars. We probably lead for 5 of them. I would say, I don't think we'd take 6. We might. It'll depend on portal and things like that. But I don't know. I think the 4 I mentioned are the 4 you got to get in the boat. Everything else is just gravy. But this will be a crazy, heavy Texas-based class. So, old buddy that was talking crap earlier, he's really going to be upset because, you got Michael Hawkins Jr. and the Bronco Mendenhall thing. I feel like I don't know where that's coming from. I think it's coming from Dean, maybe, but it's a rumor. It is what it is. But yes, we are recruiting the linebacker from Virginia. It is down between us and Iowa. So we will see. That gives us a lot of the versatility, really, because we feel good at what we have at linebacker, and it'll all depend on where McCullough, where he ends up playing, because he can be down, and he will be playing multiple positions at different times. But when you look at kind of where we're at, Broncos is just rumors right now. Until I hear anything a bit more substantiated, I'm not going to – who knows. Thoughts on Micah Hudson? I think that's probably A&M Texas battle. personally. I know that Emmett Jones is big in his recruitment, and he'll at least probably get us a visit. But I still think this feels a little Anthony Hillish to me, where we have a good relationship with the guy, but he just wants to play at Texas or Texas A&M is what it feels like. Robert, I just talked about it. That was the linebacker from Virginia. He's in Iowa. Bless you. Nick Jackson is his name. 3-time All ACC player. I think he was third team and then second team and then second team. So we'll see. But yeah, when it comes to Hudson, I'm not expecting him to be a Sooner. It'd be cool if Emmett can make that happen, but we're in on a few others. I think Wesco is pretty close to being in the boat. So I think he's a lock at wide receiver. So, but we'll see. We'll see if he gets to flex his recruiting muscle now that he's at the best program of his career. So, yeah, PG, I think the Stacey Gage thing, I think we lead for Stacey Gage, but he's going to draw his recruitment out. Our running back room will be full by the time Stacey Gage makes a decision, so it won't matter. So unless
what do you think we'll fill it with?
Caden Durham, I think is right at the top. I think Tatum's at the top. You've got right up the road, you've got Xavier at Carl Albert. But yeah, Peoples loves it. Like I said, there's a lot of there are like I said 4 or 5 4-star running backs that DeMarco can pick from right now.
Mm-hmm.
Caden Durham, I think, is going to be his first pick. I think he will be elevated to probably by the time the cycle's done, he'll probably be a top 5 back. No, we're not only taking 1 running back. We're more likely to take 3 running backs than we are 2. What I'm saying is what 2 or 3 is that combination. I don't think Stacey Gage makes his decision in time to be in that. If he wants to, he's going to have to hurry up. Yeah, Xavier Robinson's big, so he'd be an H-back, but currently he's a running back. So we have not talked about the possibility of taking 2 quarterbacks in the class. I know it's something that Brent wants to do, but I don't think they should because that might scare off Michael Hawkins Jr., which we don't want to do. I think you just go get your elite guy, and I think now that Levy's staying, and if you don't try and push for 2 quarterbacks really hard, I think Hawkins is in the boat sooner rather than later, and that was not a pun. But I think a quarterback room, because DG's got another year too. I know a lot of people forget this, but DG's got another year of eligibility after this year. So I don't think he takes it. But I'm just saying you can't try and load up the QB room full of talented guys,
right?
And then not consider that at least, right? So, and I think the portal, you can go get a backup. I think next year, if you've got Hawkins and Jackson Arnold, in the boat, and Jackson Arnold's your starter, he goes down, Hawkins is back there, I think you're going to be fine. Because I don't think you get like. If you don't think Hawkins is going to be ready, right? So let's just fast forward to 2024. And let's assume that Dylan Gabriel has left and Jackson Arnold is your starter as a redshirt freshman. Redshirt freshman, Jackson Arnold starts. Well, if you take 2 quarterbacks in the 2024 class, then neither of them will be ready if one of them isn't ready. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you've got 2 true freshmen in the 2024 class, it's not like that does anything to help your depth compared to just having Michael Hawkins back there. Like, you're not just going to start throwing a multiple true freshmen if you don't think one's good enough. So I don't think you risk losing Hawkins to somewhere else, even though TCU is recruiting him with a quarterback on their roster right now. But It is what it is. Yeah, I think Hawkins gets you multiple players. I think he locks in Peyton Pierce with you. I think he eventually locks in Parker Livingston if he gets that offer that Parker Thune wants him to get so badly. And he locks in Nigel Smith, really that whole area. So I don't see, I don't know. I don't see him going anywhere other than OU. I don't think Hawkins does because I don't understand. Like I don't understand why you would go to TCU that already has a quarterback committed unless they pull that commitment from that guy, which would be ballsy. But a lot of it, Hawkins just had a good relationship with a lot of people at Arkansas. It wasn't just, oh, we're going to go and like I'll go anywhere Kendall Browse goes. That's not that situation. This isn't like a Dylan Gabriel, Jeff Levy situation where wherever he goes, he's like, hey, man, let me know. I want to come play for you. That's
Right.
not what Kendall Browse situation is. Like there are other guys, like Dowell Loggins had a great relationship with him. Like other staffers had a great relationship with Michael Hawkins. So it's not just taking Kendall Browse out, putting him somewhere else, and he's like, cool, I want to go play for Kendall. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
But yes, oof the skull, Mr. John Davidson, recent history would suggest we need a deep bench. Yeah, and I think, with Jackson, DG back another year, really, we never got past our 2 deep last year. It was just that our second best quarterback was garbage. Sorry, any Davis Bevel apologists on here. It's the offseason. I can say that. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think that you take Michael Hawkins in the 2024 class and you wrap up that position. You get the quarterback in the class and you're done. You don't have to worry about it the rest of the cycle. He is not healthy. He got toe up pretty good. So unless he has like some super soldier serum or something like that, no, he tore a bunch of stuff up in that leg. So he hopefully will be ready by season, but he is not healthy right now and going through workouts right now. Yeah, probably.
I don't even know who that is.
So,
I need to get updated on my 2024 players. That's what we talked about last week.
Yeah, PG's listing off all the.
I'm like, who is that?
PG's listing off all the 24 guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, Casey Poe, interior offensive lineman. I do believe he is the first offensive line commit. I agree with that. So Eddie plays both, but I think the staff likes him at offensive line more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's gonna be a good class. I think the class honestly will be better than the 2023 class because I think Michael Hawkins climbs. I think he goes to Elite 11. I think he performs well. He's got the athleticism. I think he's got that kind of. They take into account like the leadership aspects and things like that. Like he's got that. Jackson had it. He's got it.
Yeah.
And I think if you get Williams, David Stone, Nigel Smith, Davian Sims, just those 4 on the defensive line. I mean, and then you've got 3 top. Yeah. In Mark, what's the date today? Groundhog Day, February 2nd, right? Yeah. So.
Oh, it is Groundhog Day. Huh?
PG that Florida will be 2. Wow, Billy Napier really stepping it up the next year. I'll see it. We'll see if Lagway sticks. We'll see. I don't think that Rashada thing did any favors with their NIL conversations. So we'll see. Calling Alabama and Georgia to not be in the top 3 is wild, especially given that Georgia's already got like a couple 5 stars committed, 2 or 3 5 stars already committed. Yeah. But when you look at the defensive backs, yeah, I don't think Georgia falls out of the top 3 based on where they're starting. And they keep on putting so many people in the league that they've got to get new people in. So you've got defensive back wise, you've got Eli Bowen, who's already got crystal balls in thanks to one Parker Thune. He loved OU from the jump. So I think Eli Bowen ends up in the class. He's currently rated as the 344th prospect in America, regardless of position. He's the 32nd ranked corner. A top 200 player, Aaron Flowers, might be one of the top, one of the earliest commits that we have. He's out of Forney, Texas. And then Jaden Hardy, we got to keep an eye on him. He's the 9th rated safety. So if you can wrap up a couple of those safety prospects out of Texas, like I said, it's going to be a very, very heavy Texas class. Then you're looking at like Brandon Hall might be done by like August with one of the most stacked rooms in the class. So is this easily a top 10 class? Absolutely. When said and done. Absolutely. I think, yeah. I think the worst that we do would be like 7th or something like that.
Okay.
If somebody, like if Colorado just goes on a weird, just out of nowhere stretch of, every single 5-star defensive back and linebacker or something like that, or, whatever, right? Like you always got to, I guess we should probably go to PG on all of our Colorado recruiting.
Yeah.
Nothing but love.
Yeah. Well, it's yeah. We'll see what happens. We're a long way away. It was good talk Big 12 schedule tonight though, and thanks for everybody hanging in. Just me being in the car for the first couple minutes and everything like that. But appreciate y'all always for coming out. Trav, you got anything for the people before we head out?
No, I don't think so. Hey, gentlemen, go ahead and right now book your Valentine's Day reservations. Book your plans. Valentine's Day is coming up. So we're just a couple weeks away. It's 2 weeks from yesterday. So those reservations, they get taken up quick. So make your reservations, drink your water, get hydrated, get that hydration habit going before summer. Your body will thank you. So, and yeah, keep coming out to the basketball games, man. We got games against ranked opponents coming up that can give us a chance to get back on the right side of the bubble after that. That atmosphere was amazing. I'll see you guys at the baseball games, everything like that. So I think that's for the most part all.
Oh, well, looking forward to continuing to talk about things, and now next week we'll have a special guest for you guys, and we'll announce that here in the next week or so. But it's going to be a fun night, JP and Trav show next Wednesday. So make sure you guys come out, stay tuned for everything as far as that. And man, always appreciate y'all. Make sure you like the video if you haven't on your way out. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Boomer.